Hola from the west side. It is me, DC the Purple Diva, and welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday. So, you see, the topic for tonight is going to be around Mr. Biden's pick. So, we're going to get into it. But before I go there, uh, I'm going to share out my stream so people know that I'm on, because I don't know if YouTube is giving you guys a notification. Come on through and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right. So, hey, Purple Gang. You're half. You're half of the Purple Gang. Purple Gang. I love it. Purple's the best color. Best color in the world. So, but before I get into the talk, I do want to mention that on my community tab, I have up a advertisement for a virtual seminar on domestic violence this weekend. Hey, Matt, it's on Saturday. It is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So that is from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, because we're still in daylight time. Yeah, we're still at daylight savings time. It is a virtual conference on domestic violence. It is going to be great. It is being put on by The Company, which is a nonprofit for women, and really it's for business women and just women empowering us in being entrepreneurs, in being homemakers, in whatever it is that we want to do. We are The Company of Women, and we're going to be doing this thing on domestic violence this weekend. There's going to be a number of speakers. It is going to be on Zoom. So if you guys have a chance, take a look at it on my community tab, and it is free. It doesn't cost you anything. It is free. Okay, so that's something coming up this weekend for the ladies. Had to put that out there. I will be talking about it for the rest of the freaking week, too. Okay, so let's get into it about Kamala Harris. So now I'm going to start off by retracting my previous statement about her ethnicity. I've done some digging of my own, and her father is black Jamaican. He's just very fair skinned, but he's black. So that would make her biracial. She is half East Indian and half black. Okay. So I'm going to retract my statement about her ethnicity. She is biracial. She is half black. Okay. Put that out there before I start to go in. So that being said, I don't know what to say about him picking Kamala Harris, because she was not the only woman of color that he had to choose from. And I know Barack is half, but Barack is half African. She's half Jamaican black. I saw a picture of her father. I really had to look. The man, he's very fair skinned. He's like, how we get when we clearly are red bone in our youth. When we get older, we look, kind of like a pinky, like my grandmother looked really red when she was older. So that's what her dad looks like. Haven't seen any pictures of him when he's younger. Her mom is deceased. But here are my things in regards to Biden's pick. Y'all, I've already been saying I didn't think that was the right pick, but this is his pick. But my feelings around Kamala Harris still have not changed in regards to the fact that she is not for black people. I do not care if she is biracial. Her father is Jamaican, which means she's not part of those of us who are descendants of those who went through the 400 years of hell in this country. Because, see, her father's from Jamaica, okay? So it's not in her DNA to be for us. In California, she was responsible for more black men and women going to jail. She's responsible for stacking of charges. She has already said today that she does not have an agenda for black people. She said it. She said it. Y'all can go find that. It's out there. And all my AKA friends are just thrilled to bits because their soror is on the ticket now. And I am happy that it is a woman and it is a woman of color. I just am not happy about the person that he picked. And I am personally apprehensive about that getting him votes because he still has an uphill battle now that he has picked this Kamala Harris as his running mate. And I hope he didn't do that to get the black vote because he's going to need more than the black vote to win this election. Because in 2016, most white women voted for this woman-hating president we have now. Okay? Most of them voted for him. So, I don't know if having Kamala as his running mate will get those voters back for Mr. Biden. I just don't know. I know that we black people typically vote Democrat or are registered as Democrats. I don't know why y'all are, but there's a growing number of us who are not because the Democratic platform is not for us. Neither is the Republican, but it's not about empowering us 13 percenters. And I want people to watch the things that they're going to be hearing in the coming days so that they can form their own educated opinion in regards to how this campaign is being run. Please do not be lulled into supporting this. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Mr. Biden's going to have to fight for my freaking vote at this particular point. And I really don't want to be voting for Mr. Trump, but I really don't want to have to vote for Mickey Mouse because I can't vote for Mr. Biden because he didn't earn my vote legitimately. You feel what I'm saying? I don't want, and I'm sorry, Miss Kamala Harris, but you're going to have to convince some of us in the great state of California, uh, that you have a love for American blacks, because see, your dad is a Jamaican black, and I do understand that you are a member of one of the Divine Nine. You are a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. I am totally understanding about that, but your record is your record, so you need to explain that. Hey, 1SP. That's what I'm saying, Matt. Don't be lulled into this. Some people are happy with his pick. Some black people are happy with his pick. I told you, all my AKA friends are ecstatic. They love it. You know, just as my sorors were ecstatic when our soror was part of the Obama administration. So I totally get it from that perspective. I'm telling you what I know about this woman and her record in politics. And it needs to be questioned, and she needs to answer in regards to it. I'm just being honest about it. Because she's now on the ticket. Just look and see what you guys are saying in here. He can't talk. Yeah, he's not very articulate at this particular point, you know. But, 45 doesn't know how to use big words, you know. 45 does not know how to use big words. They are beyond him, you know, beyond him. Um, Mr. Biden, I do want him to speak a little better. Because last couple of times I've heard him, he sounds like an old man. Okay? And he can't be sounding like no old man if he wants to get younger voters who don't want to vote for Trump. You know? He can't, because putting Kamala Harris on the ticket is still not going to get some of those people who are diehard Bernie Sanders. You know? The folks who didn't come out to vote the last time? Yeah, them. You know? The 40% of people who stayed their butts at home and did not vote? Yeah, those people. Um, it's very important to vote. I can't even stress it enough. I clearly have no idea how the hell I'm going to vote at this particular point. I, yeah, I don't know. But I'm going to vote my conscience, and, you know, there, I'm one of those people who is conservative about certain things. I don't consider myself necessarily a liberal. I don't. Um, you know, but I'm definitely not part of the Christian gang that is behind 45, because that Christian gang is made of only one race, particularly, you know, and because of how some people who call themselves Christians act. I already told y'all I'm a believer in the Most High, you know, because I know the truth of what's actually in that word versus, the way that they made it seem like slavery was okay, because it wasn't. So I am going to it's going to be interesting because, yeah, if Kamala Harris is under some delusion that she is a key, she couldn't get votes when she was running on her own to be president. Ain't got time for jury duty. I don't do jury duty anymore. They haven't actually tried to get me to do jury duty in some years. But the next time they ask me, I have to exempt myself because I caregive for my son. So uh, they tried to make him do jury duty. I had to get something from the regional center and send it to the courts so they take him off their list because he votes. And voter registration and DMV doesn't identify whether you have autism. You know, he could not sit on a jury, but he knows how to vote. Besides Oprah or The Rock, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand his logic, but I guess I do. You know, Typically, when they're running in these presidential races, typically they're going to pick one of the other people that was running against them. It's what Obama did the same thing when he made Biden his vice presidential running mate. And I told you guys he wasn't going to pick Bernie. It was never going to happen. We weren't going to have two tickets with white men on them. You know, Joe decided that he was going to add a woman on there. You know, do I think that America is ready for a woman president? I don't know. They didn't want Hillary. That I do know. You know, um, but whether Kamala likes it or not, she's going to have to say something in regards to the black people. I'm sorry, not sorry. Because now you're not running for president. You're the vice president. You're running for the vice presidency. But you better say something and you better clean it up for Mr. Biden. That's what I can tell you. And make this man understand that he is just not walking on easy street to get votes because he picked you as his running mate. Personally, I think she's just made it harder for him. I'm just saying. Is there a George Bush the third? I don't know. You know, I mean, we all know that technically we had a Bush in there when Obama was in there. Hey, Blinita. Hey, girlfriend. It's so good to see you. Hey, Gathering Place. I know Trump is not for the American people. He is for a certain sector of people. He claimed he was going to go into Washington and clean up the swamp. All I see is him taking his boat and going boating around the swamp. and being part of the swamp. I mean, you know, for me, I'm sorry, Mr. Biden, but there are a whole lot of Black people, because I know that's part of his reasoning for pulling her in, is to get the female vote and to try to get the Black vote. I'm not stupid about that. But here's the thing. There Black people don't automatically just vote Democrat anymore. We don't automatically vote Democratic. And the Democratic Party needs to understand that and come correct with us. We are, uh, unfortunately, the majority of us still just vote Democrat, but we don't all vote Democrat anymore. It is a more of a growing percentage who are coming out of the Democratic Party. A lot of them still vote Democratic, though, but they aren't registered as part of the Democratic Party for a reason, just like myself. Um, I've been listening to some other lives in the clouds today, as people have been discussing this matter, because this is something that Black people have to talk about, because we had 44 for 8 years. And although his father is not Black American, he is Black. And but Obama was not brought up as a Black man. He was brought up as a multicultural man. He did not really embrace his Blackness until he was an adult. Um, and we, as Black people, I will just say in general, were probably disappointed in the presidency, because we somehow thought that, a Black president getting in there was going to be in there and was going to do a whole bunch of work for us 13%. And I want to keep saying that, because we have to recognize how small a portion of the actual American population we actually are. So, but everybody's fighting to get that 13% of votes. You know why? Because a lot of us actually do vote. See, in the last election, when there was only a 60% voter turnout, a lot of that 13% of us actually did go and vote. And a lot of us voted for Hillary Clinton. You know, I'm going to be honest with you from in my thoughts and regards. I don't know if we would have been in a better position if Hillary Clinton had won. I don't know. Um, does Biden and Kamala Harris, do they have strong leadership skills? Biden had strong leadership skills. Um, I need him to show me he has his head in the game. That's what I need. He should have run 4 years ago, but he didn't. But he needs to show me that he's got his head in the game. I'm sorry. I'm a vote that you actually have to earn. You're not going to just assume because I am Black, I'm going to vote for you. Calming. I don't know. I don't know if he picked Comey. Did he? I'm not sure. He may have. You try to stay off the topic. Yeah, I know, but today it's like, how can you? We all knew that this was coming. And I mean, the rumors were that it was going to be Kamala Harris. So we shouldn't be surprised that he picked her. I mean, out of all of the people that were in there, she's the only one who had run for president. I still think that Stacey Abrams would have been a very good choice. Um, but I know how they're playing this game. He's trying to play this political game in a certain manner. And I guess in his mind, he thinks that she's going to be the best running mate for him to get to the finish line. I hope so. They got about 90 days to convince us of that. So I expect to see a whole lot more Joe Biden ads, along with his running mate, Kamala Harris. And I want to hear what kind of issues you really are going to take care of. Like, if you get in there, how are you going to straighten out this mess of a pandemic that we're dealing with? Excuse me, guys. Belching. Sorry. Sorry about that. Let me take a drink of something. But this is going to be a weird 90 days. This is going to be the weirdest election that we've ever had. Because, now we've got to deal with people voting in the middle of a pandemic. Because, by November, that's a couple of months from now, we'll be starting. I think that we will start to go towards the next wave of this thing. That's what I think. You know? So, I don't know. Biden's got a lot of he's got a lot of work, you know. Um and Ms. Harris needs to address her record with putting black people in jail. Hmm? I want her to do that. I really do. Because trust me, that's hitting the internet so hard. I told y'all, I kept saying it. I've been saying it for weeks in regards to this woman. And now, I mean, did he not? Does he think she can explain that away? She can't explain it away, but she's going to have to explain it. You know, since she proclaims herself to be a black woman, explain to me why you put so many black women and black men in jail in the state of California with stacked charges. Please explain that to me. You named a new scarf after me. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I am honored, Blind Needle. I have pulled out some of my crocheting and my knitting stuff. I need to start doing that. That is really therapeutic. I have not done any sewing, any knitting, any crocheting, any painting, all the stuff that kind of keeps me, you know, woosah in the middle of the cake. I haven't had time to do none of that. I got to get back on my creative side. Oh my goodness. I know, because now I'm sorry, but I am actually concerned because my personal opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't think that she was the right pick for him to win. And I really hope that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm gonna go check it out, Blind Needle, because I've kind of been in and out of my Insta, and you know how Insta is. If you don't check stuff out right away, it's all the way down your feed. But I'm gonna go to your page. I'm gonna go to your page and find it. Yeah, I've been so bad. I haven't really been on my Instagram. I haven't really been on my Facebook. I did go on Facebook today, though. Yes, I did. And I posted the same thing that I posted on my community tab. The exact same thing with that exact same picture on my Facebook page. Because I said, let me just drink my coffee and watch this one. Because I think that there's going to be a firestorm in the next couple of days of everything they could possibly dig up in regards to her record, especially in this age of, us talking about the broken justice system. So it'd be interesting to see Miss Kamala Harris's take on that, you know, especially since she's raising two quarter quarter black men. Her kids are 25% black, you know, because she's only half black. So because her husband is not black, he is white, her children are only a quarter. So show me you're for black people in any respect, not just bring up being bust when you were a kid. Like, what the F? That was like, when she brought that up, I was like, girl, bye. She could have come up with something else. I'm just saying. Oh, man. Biden better not be quitting on us. He better get it together. He better fight the fight. He better act like he wants this. I'm telling you, better act like you want it, man. And change our minds about Kamala Harris. That's what you need to do. You need to change our minds about her. And you don't just need to change black people's minds about her. Because let me just tell you, California has a lot of delegates. We got a lot of electoral votes in the state of California. So, do you want this state or not? Do you want those states that Hillary lost or not? I'm just saying. Because this is about getting those electoral votes, Mr. Biden. And I don't care about all these little predictive things that they're blowing around, that were saying that he would win by a landslide. That was last week before he picked Kamala Harris as his running mate. Before he picked her. You know, this isn't about picking any black woman or any woman as your running mate because you're trying to get the female vote. I don't know if Kamala can bring all those women who voted for Donald Trump 4 years back over. Because ironically, more women vote than men. Probably because there's more of us. I know. I mean, I'm just perplexed. It's like we are in the middle of the freaking twilight zone in this country right now. We are in the middle of the freaking twilight zone. Um, Now, I'm sure 44 is ecstatic that he picked Kamala. I'm sure he's ecstatic about that. But, I'm just not rushing out to make my decision. I'm just not. And I want to see how he's going to start doing in the polls as the week goes on. Is he going to still be ahead of him predicting? Because they're predicting that he, if the election was today, well, last week he'd had 370, well more than he needs. He needs to be thinking, how is she going to help him get those electoral votes? I'm just straight up about it. Hey, Joe. Okay, thank you, Blind Needle. I'll go check my DMs. I will. It's just, I don't know. Maybe some people are very happy. Like I said, the AKAs are happy. Her sorors are ecstatic. You know, but it is just about getting more votes. I don't know if he did this to try to secure the black vote. That can't be it because we're not that many. So there's definitely some other itinerary on there. But rest assured, many people are thinking about the fact that if he gets into office, God forbid something happens to him, we would then have not only a black president again, but now we would have a woman. It'll be interesting. I mean, here's the thing. The Republicans tried it. They did try. They tried it with a woman. It was just a dimwit. I mean, Sarah Palin is just, you know, she's like, a hillbilly from Alaska. You know, so I will give, you know, Kamala kudos, because she's an educated woman. She she has been in public office for quite some time. Um, she did indeed win and go to the Senate for the state of California. You know, but I still can't forget the damage that she did to Black people in the state of California. You know, and she's not the only Black attorney. You know, she was like attorney general, but I mean, you've got Black DAs that are doing the same thing. You know, but she needs to answer, because as the vice presidential candidate, she could potentially become president. So at this particular point, that's the way I look at it. I don't know. I just don't know if she's going to be the right thing. I don't think it's going to get Bernie supporters either, Matt. But Bernie Sanders, if he was not going to be the presidential candidate, he don't need to be. He wasn't going to be the second one in command. I told y'all there was no way in hell Joe Biden was going to pick Bernie Sanders. Even before this, that just was not going to happen. So, you know, now we have Biden Harris. And now they're ready. I hope they're ready. I hope they are ready. Because they're going to have to do some real, they are going to have to do some real campaigning to get those voters, Bernie Sanders voters. And, and my son is one of them, because that's who my son voted for. He liked Bernie Sanders. He liked Bernie Sanders 4 years ago. So, younger voters like Sanders. So, I think the only way that he's going to get those voters is if he somehow puts some of the things that Bernie Sanders had in his platform into his platform. Like, I don't know. How about this one? Why can't we find some way to make college free, at least for the first 2 years? You know, like, go back to all of the community colleges being free across the country. You know, but there are other countries where college is free, period. Cut the cost of what it costs to go to the state universities and leave that to the private ones. Seriously, because that would be a nice thing to put in there, especially since, I don't know, our country is well behind the rest of the world when it comes to education. Um, I would love to just see another person in there as president, just so we could get rid of Miss Betsy Voss. Get that woman out of there before our kids' educations are destroyed. You know, because they have been steadily dumbing us down in public education. They have. And if you listen to this woman when she ever talks, you can she has no clue about what a public education should be. And she definitely doesn't understand that there needs to be more dollars instead of less dollars going towards education. That we need to find some way to make our class sizes go back to the way that they were. I don't know. Maybe that means building more schools or having bigger schools so you can keep smaller classes. Hey, Patriot in the dark. Yeah, they've been dumbing us down. They're dumbing us down. And this woman, that's part of her agenda, is to keep it going that way. There's an agenda for us to have a certain type of education. And they have been steadily changing it to be that particular kind of education. Because our education is not for us to go out and be entrepreneurs or anything. They educate us so that we can fill a slot. It's not about the creative mind or innovation like in other countries. That's why we're so far behind. We're so far behind in our kids knowing technology. And I'm not just talking about black kids, I mean kids in this country. You know, kids in other countries are way ahead of us on that. But they continue to dumb our kids down. And I would just like to see another person in the Department of Education. And the only way that's going to happen is if we get a new president. Because clearly, 45 is quite pleased with her performance. And he doesn't see any reason to change anything. But it's going to hurt our kids, y'all. It's hurting our kids. I know, but the problem is when they do school choice, you're going to end up with a bunch of charter schools. And I can just speak from in California, charter schools don't always work. And charter schools have a way of excluding certain types of students, i.e., kids on the autism spectrum, kids with disabilities, developmental disabilities who learn differently. They become elitists. That's what happens with that choice program. At least that's how it's been working in California. It may be working differently in other states, but yeah, it's not working to the advantage of all students being able to get that kind of education. It makes it so only certain groups are able to get that certain kind of education when that happens. Unfortunately, it makes education, getting a good education, once again, something that not all kids are going to be on the same level based on where they live. And it to me, and this is just my opinion, is making the education problem worse, not better. I know they meant it to make it better, but it doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better. You know, um, the crazy thing is that we don't we don't give our kids enough stuff in the time that they're in school. We don't challenge them enough from the very beginning. We're not giving them. We're not. keeping them in line with how highly advanced education is becoming around the world. The only ones who get those higher education are ones who are in charter schools, or the kids that go to those prep schools that are all around the country, where they are in boarding schools with some kids that come there on the day program. Those kind of schools, yeah. But he does this every time I'm on live, y'all. It's like clockwork. That's the thing. That's the problem. I know how charter schools were supposed to work differently than they do work. The intent of charter schools was to give kids that are in areas that are, you know, less desirable or more urban, shall I say, a chance at a better education. But the problem is that many times the charter schools, even if they are in their area, become elitist and don't want to let kids in that really want to learn because they aren't at a certain level. Well, how are they going to get to that level if you don't let them into these specialized schools? That's the problem with charter schools. That's the problem. Well, I don't think it's just about the unions. I mean, I think you have good teachers even with the union. I know many, many teachers. Um, that's a lot of the teachers are on the front lines. They are fighting to be able to educate their students. Even even in this pandemic, they're not happy about having to do the online education of the students. They really think that this is going to hurt our kids so much, you know. And these are teachers that are in the unions. So I don't think it's really the frontline teachers. You might be, union officials or union officials, and they make collective, bargaining decisions. But when you're talking about the inner class teachers, they really do care. The majority of them are not just there for a job, because teachers don't make a whole lot of money, and they generally have to come out of their own pockets for some of the things that they're able to provide to their students. So, I'm not going to discount, teachers that we have in the public schools. I'm going to just say that, you know, the states, obviously, education is not a high priority. It's not a high priority for us. Because if it was, we would treat it differently. It's not a high priority for our country. Can't be. If it was a high priority for our country, we would not have Donald Trump as our president. Therefore, we would not have this lunatic that's in there in the Department of Education. You know, in theory, if they were really doing the school of choice program correctly, then it wouldn't have turned into this elitist process that it is right now. And then some of those charter schools aren't even coming up to the state mandates for education for these kids to get into college. That's also a problem with some of the charter schools, because they are doing things their own way. But you see, Patriot in the Dark, I do teach mine. My son's an adult now, but I was completely involved in the education process, completely. And that's what that's the where I partner with them. But as far as who my son is, his character and everything, you're absolutely right. Those are things that have to be developed in the home with the parents. That's not something that comes from the classroom. That's something that comes from the home. Well, you may be right, but my I can only speak for myself as a parent. I was always the squeaky wheel for my son. I had to be, because my son had a developmental disability. So I was always jumping up and down to get what I did get for him. And I still don't think I got everything that I should have, because there's still things that I am, now still working on teaching him that he didn't get academically in the classroom, you know. But not a lot of parents are not equipped to do that. A lot of parents aren't equipped for that. Well, I don't know what kind of schools you're talking about, because the public schools that I'm talking about, that none of that was going on. None of that's going on. It's not. They're not violent. Kids are there to get educated. But the issue is that if they don't have the supplies, they don't have enough textbooks in the classroom. Kids have to share textbooks. Um, all schools are not equipped with full internet and computers. I mean, I I mentioned this. One of the things I think should happen is that every child should have a laptop when they enter school, provided by the school as part of their education. You know, but it took us a long time to f up the education system, so it's going to take some time to fix it. Right now, they're not focused on educating our kids. They're not. They say they are, but just talking to parents that I know, this is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare. Some parents don't have the luxury of being able to stay home and help to educate their kids during this time. And nor do they have the luxury of being able to bring in a tutor. But as far as morals and ethics, that's always something that should be taught in the home. The school is there to educate them on academic things. And that's where they learn how to be social. But morals and beliefs, yeah, that is the parents' responsibility. That's part of raising your kids. See, Patriot, in where I am, that's not even the issue with kids going to school of choice. They're not dealing with all of that violence. Now, I mean, I'll say, like, 20 years ago, that might have not have been the case in some schools. But now that's not, it's just about the level of education. And in the school choice program, at least in my state, it becomes elitist in regards to education. nothing to do with violence. I don't know where you live, so maybe there are issues with behaviors and stuff, but that's not really the issue around what I'm talking about. Not here. Oh, you're in Michigan. Okay, I get you. I get you. Yeah, my dad is from Detroit, and he did part of his education in Detroit when he was a kid. But Detroit now is a very different place. Hey, Terry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the area that you're in, because I've even seen, like, even during this pandemic, there's some principal that's in Detroit that literally was talking about the difference in the schools between, like, one part of town and another part of town, and I'm sure it's probably very similar, you know, in the Flint area too, because of yeah, socioeconomic. Then yeah, I can understand why it's that way where you are, Patriot in the Darkness. Yeah, that totally explains, because the area of the country that you're in. But yeah, like here in Southern California with the school choice thing, it's not even about that. It's it's about the level of education, access to, certain type of education, like being in a specialized school that deals with technology or deals with the arts and all of that kind of stuff, being part of the school choices. I figured you were at work. If I had, with my son, if I had had the chance, I would have sent him someplace other than where he went. He would have still, I would have probably had him in um, another school that was specifically for kids with autism that I didn't know about, that the state of California runs. That was a school that I could have picked as a choice, but no one let us know. But when I found out about it, I told other people about it so that they didn't have to go through what we went through. But yeah, if I started out with my son in private school, but because of him having the autism, private school was not the best choice for him, but neither were the public schools in my district, you know. And by the time we found out about this other school, it wasn't, he was kind of already on the path that we didn't, you know, of not graduating, of getting a completion. So that's why I'm still doing academics with him, you know, so that he can learn the things that he didn't learn in school. Thankfully, his mom, me, you know, I majored in math in college. So I'm good with that kind of stuff. And I've taught him that. And I'm pretty good with, English and everything. But what we're trying to work with him, I'm working with him on his reading skills, working with him on his speaking skills. So yeah, mom's being the teacher. But because my son had a disability, I always had to work with him at home. I did continuation of school at home because I had to. If I hadn't done the things that I did do, my son wouldn't even be where he is as far as his social skills and his verbal skills. His IQ is through the roof, but having a high IQ doesn't mean diddly squat if you're not communicating. Yeah, that's kind of tough. I totally get what you're saying, where you are because if you're in a part of the country where the schools are kind of crazy, you know, kids have to fight to get an education and teachers have to fight to get into the school, then you're definitely going to want a school choice program where you can go to a school where your kids can go to a school where they're safe in their learning experience. How many parents did I see? Most of the I know a lot of parents. I'll just say in my family, we get involved in education. But I do see parents that are not involved in their kids' education. Because my son had a developmental disability, I was involved in his education. And most of the parents that I knew that had kids with a developmental disability were involved in their kids' education. But we're a specific type of parent because we had to be involved in our kids' education. But then again, there's some parents that just let them do whatever they wanted to do with their kid. So I mean, that happens even when you have kids on with developmental disabilities. But I do agree that a lot of parents are not as involved in their kids' education as they should be. Um, Back when I was in school, I was one of those kids that I mean, I went to a college prep high school to prepare me for college. So I did all the legwork. I made sure I had the units that I needed to do. My parents didn't even ask me about none of that. I did that stuff. I worked with my guidance counselor, did all of that stuff, made sure everything was done, when it needed to be done. You know, I would go to my parents if I needed money for like to take the SAT prep class and to take the SAT. But as far as making sure that those things were scheduled and that I met deadlines, I did that, you know. But I know that it's different now because kids, all kids aren't like that. And the parents do need to be more involved. And they really need to be looking at what their kids are learning in school. They really, really do. But they don't. They don't. Maybe that's the American way. And maybe that's the reason why our education system sucks out loud. There's so many countries who have better education systems than we do. And I'm just talking about up, you know, until you get to post secondary. You know, college, we got people coming from all over the world to go to our schools. But our own kids in our own states can't get into the colleges in the state that they live, but they were educated in that state. That means something's wrong with the education system, primary through secondary. That's what it means. And here's my question: is it going to hurt or harm our kids taking away the SATs for the next couple of years? You know, I know the SATs are a stupid way to measure intelligence. And basically, if you're a good test taker, those are the people who do well on those things. I had to take them. I took them twice because first time I think I got like a 900 and something, and the second time I had 1100 because I brought my scores up. You know, but that was how I did it. I, I know. I mean, that me, my sister, my brother, we were all. That's how we were. But my family is like really strong on education and stuff, and we are really involved in our kid. We're very involved in our kids. We were involved in our kids' educations. So even though our parents weren't, I mean, I would say all the way through to the eighth grade, yeah, my parents were all in there. But when I went to high school, that's when it was on me. You know, that's when it was on me. And by the time I was ready to graduate from high school, yeah, I knew what I needed to do. And so I was able to leave home. 18, go away to college. I know. I know. Like in my family, we everybody had to go to college. Even if you didn't, it's like even those who didn't finish, they had to try. You know, but to me, going to school up to high school, it should be the easiest experience for kids, and it's not. It's a struggle, and it's because of, yeah, the education that they're getting. One school, you learn one thing, another school they're not learning the same thing because they don't have enough books for all the kids. I mean, how is that still going on in 2020? I mean, now all the kids are virtual, so nobody has books. But what about when they go back to the classroom? What about when they go back to the classroom? Which by that point, we may or may not have a new Department of Education head. But does anybody feel that these people care about our kids' education? That either one of the presidential candidates care about it? I'm just being real. Because I'd like to hear how one is going to change this awful thing that's going on right now. As far as you know, everything's being thrown back on the states. We have a president who does not want to do for the country. He wants to make it look like he's doing for the country, but he really isn't. And then we have this other person, Mr. Biden, who I feel, and this is just my personal opinion, picked Kamala Harris because he thought she would get him the black vote. But let me reiterate that we are only 13% of the population. And he needs more than black people to win. He needs to get all of those of us who are very disenfranchised with the Democratic Party to vote for him. He does. I'm not a Democrat. I don't support your platform. I personally think both parties need to make some serious changes in their platforms and in their approach to the American people. Because this country has changed. And those two parties are full of old white men who are the minority in this country at this point. Yet, in fact, they make all the decisions. Yeah, and it's a discipline to study in. Because I'll tell you, you find out when you get to college whether you've got good study habits or not. When there's nobody there to make you do your homework, to make you study for a test. It is something that we all have to develop. And the reason it helps you is because then when you go out into the work world, what, you think you stop being educated? When you get jobs, you're always learning something. You're always having to study something. And it does take discipline to do that. A lot of us have found we had horrible study skills when we got to college and we had to get it together. Me, because up until college, it was easy for me to get good grades. I didn't have to study. It was easy. I had to study when I got to college. Yeah, but I'm at the point. Oh, I didn't even realize. Wow, I had just been talking and talking and talking. Okay, so since we're over an hour, I'm gonna go another almost 15 minutes because we're almost at. I'll go to an hour 30. I'll make it 90 minutes since I just kept going. But y'all got me going on the education, y'all. Even it's like even though my son is out of the education system, I just have a heart for our children's education. I just see, what's going on. I mean, let's just be real. We already had issues with the education system before coronavirus. Now, because of this, those issues within the education system in every school district around this country are coming up to the surface so everyone can see them. Because it makes no sense that Los Angeles Unified School District, the second largest school district in the country, could not get their act together to make sure all the kids had laptops, Chromebooks, table, whatever they had to have, and internet access in the spring. And they still haven't got it together. What, the kids are getting ready to go back to school next week in LA Unified? Yeah. And I don't know how it's working with the other school districts around the country where some of them are having some in school and off campus because we've had a couple of them had to close down because kids started coming up positive as soon as they got back in school, which isn't that what we expected? How are they supposed to study in that kind of environment where they have to worry about if they're going to catch something? How are they supposed to study in that kind of environment? I know you're absolutely right about that. I don't think a lot of people read the Declaration of Independence. Um, that would be a very good read, y'all. And then I've already told you guys. I mean, Black people are an amendment. Our freedom is an amendment. Our right to vote is an amendment. They're both amendments. So people need to read. They need to read them. They need to know what their First Amendment, Second Amendment rights are. Actually, you need to know all of the amendments to the Constitution. You really should know what those amendments are. I mean, right now, I've said it. California is violating Second Amendment rights by opening up the casinos and refusing to allow houses of worship to worship inside their houses. Now, we have some rebels out there who are doing it anyway. And then there's some pastor, I'm not sure where he is, but there is some pastor at some church that's been having services since May. Since May. Nobody's come up COVID positive. And the churches that are holding their services, amazingly, nobody's coming up COVID positive. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that that, you know, it's not out there. I believe it's real. But I feel that there's another agenda behind keeping people from going to houses of worship. I do. And it's a violation. Oh, you guys are talking some marine stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone wants to come here. Yeah. Everyone wants to come here, and they come here and they seem to get it. Other people come to our country and they use our constitution and our laws to make it happen. The same laws, the same constitution that we have. But Patriot in the darkness is absolutely right. Many of us do not know what our constitutional rights are. We don't even know when they're being violated. And we wouldn't know that what's in the Declaration of Independence if it was sitting in front of our faces. But I think we need to go look at these documents as a collective, as a country, really look at these documents and look at what these two men are going to be saying, you know. See, Obama knew how to say all the stuff because Obama, would I tell you guys, constitutional lawyer, that man knows the Constitution. That's why the Affordable Care Act is not actually gone yet, like Mr. Trump promised, because 44 interwoven into the Constitution. So they can't get rid of it. There has to be something there because that's how it was written. That's how it was written. You know, but Mr. Biden, when I spoke about this, we really did hope that he was not going to pick Kamala Harris. We really did hope that. There were many people who hoped that he did not pick her. Um, but he has. So there you have it. So this is going to be interesting because I'm expecting to hear lots of stuff, and I expect people to really, really dig in and really study what these people are saying and what they say they're going to do. Because 45 needs to tell us why he should stay in office as well. You know, I want somebody to tell me a better way of handling what's going on in our country right now. Our country should not be the number one country in the world with this disease. It didn't even start here. It didn't even start here. And yet and still, God bless America. God bless America. I agree with you. I agree with you on that, Patriot. I agree with you on that. We are resilient. But we got to get it together in regards to this this virus that is killing people, and we don't even know what kind of effects it's having on people who are surviving its systems. I know, Matt. But just like Biden should not be assuming, Mr. Trump needs to say something anyway. He's already scared. That's why he keeps doing stuff that he's doing. And he's not scared because of Biden. He's scared because of how he's handled this whole situation. And see, this is what's in everybody's face right now. You know, he can't go back to leaning on the fact of all the jobs that he inherited from 44 because all those jobs went away. Now we're dealing with what happened while you've been here. And the way that you're handling this versus the way things are being handled in other countries. I mean, isn't New Zealand, they have had absolutely no corona cases in what, 100 days? We can't even get through 24 hours. And every week we go up, breaking the record of how many people have it. I personally think that they want everybody, they just want us to all get it. And that's why they're doing things the way they're doing it. That's my opinion. Biden is an emergency pick. Yeah, well. In case of emergency, break glass. But we have to realize, I know everybody in the room is not a believer, but we have to realize that God can use anyone, including this president that we have right now. I don't see the God in him. I don't see the God in him. I don't. you know. And when he said that Biden was out to hurt God, y'all. And I'm not gonna go into my issues with Catholicism. Those are my issues. Those are my issues with Catholicism because I was raised Catholic. But I know the truth. But, you know, who am I to say Mr. Biden is not a saved individual because he's Roman Catholic? You know, um, he wouldn't be the first Catholic president. Wasn't that Kennedy, who was a philanderer? You know, continuous adulterer. You know, and his daddy was a crook. So I mean, from that standpoint, Mr. Biden is a step up. Um, I think he morally is a step up from the president that we have. But that's not the issue. The issue is about running this country and not running it into the ground. You know, that's what I feel. Let me come on camera for you guys because we're at that 90-minute point. Hey everybody. Got my hair up on top of my head tonight. How are you guys doing? Thank y'all for coming. I really, really appreciate it. And thank y'all for the conversation. Always, always, always good. But I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I will be back on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm sure there'll be more to say. I'm sure there'll be more to say in regards to what's going on. But until then, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. Everybody continue to be safe. Keep yourself informed. Um, don't just vote for anybody. Really, really know what's going on with these folks. I'm serious. Um, Voting for the leader of the free world is kind of important. Take it seriously. All right, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace. I'm out.